Hey, you guys, this is Josh
And Carolyn.
with Homesteading Family, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pantry Chat Food for Thought.
This week, we're talking about 10 surprising foods that we freeze dry and one that I'm never going to freeze dry again.
Never say never. We'll see.
We will see.
But first,
a little chit chat.
A little chit chat. What is going on with you right now?
Well, up here in North, I know a lot of you guys are probably already moved on and thinking more summer than you're thinking spring, but here in North Idaho, we're kind of like in full-blown spring mode.
We're lagging. We're behind.
As always. We're still expecting some frosts here. Hopefully we're just about done by the time you guys are listening to this, but there's still a lot of work to be done here in the spring. So we are planting, we're keeping up with weeds, we're making sure we've got lots of nice mulch down, but we're still starting seeds indoors as of the filming of this, and getting ready for just kind of getting everything in the ground and moving along for summer.
You guys are doing great claiming some of those terrace ground out there and extending the terrace gardens, which is an extension of the kitchen garden.
Exactly. One of the things that we're growing in our new spaces that we're kind of expanding into is a whole lot of winter squash. It is way more winter squash than we need for our household use, but winter squash makes great animal feed.
And it turns into lard eventually, and we need a lot of lard in this household.
I know. This is what we call homestead alchemy, turning things like kitchen waste and pumpkins into lard and bacon.
Yep.
Makes us happy.
Do a lot of that this year. I'm going to be doing the same up in the newer orchard, just outside the main crop garden. We're going to be planting a lot of squash as well. You've got the sweet spot with the terraces and the solar gain and everything, but we'll do good up there. And along with probably some turnips, and we're going to experiment with some different things, some other root crops, just broadcast, not worry about production too much, but throw them out there, and some sunflower seeds for pigs and chickens.
This is kind of, some of you guys have been listening for a while, so we've been talking about this, but this is kind of the next step of our homesteading, is to figure out how to be a little less dependent on buying in animal feed. And starting to produce more and more of our feed for that time of year where the animals are all in the barn, which for us can be 6 months.
Yeah, pretty solid 6 months. I'm going to get it down to 7 eventually, but
7 out?
7 out, sorry, 5 months in the barn. Maybe the cows, we can do a little bit longer, cows and sheep, a little bit longer over time as we
feed that we have to bring in. But we're just chipping away at what we can start doing without feed. So what about you?
Oh, man. Well, wow. We had a bloated sheep this morning, so was dealing with that, still waiting to see, and took action myself after ourselves watching a little YouTube and familiar with the process of relieving. So when you have a bloated sheep, they in this case, something in the grass. They've been on grass for a month, but something in the grass got them bloated, got too much gas, and that gas can fill up inside their body and actually stop their lungs and their internal organs from working. And so you've got to relieve the pressure. And at the point she was at, we didn't feel like baking soda and some of those things would work. But we'd never done the puncture method. The vets were all in surgery and wouldn't come up. So anyways, that was a new one. We filmed it. I don't know if I'll show anybody because we'll see how it turned out. And we didn't really have the right tools. But a lot of homesteaders, a lot of farmers of old have had to deal with this on their property with no vet. And you puncture the room, and it's a little scary thing to do if you haven't done it before, to relieve the air. So we've given that a try. We'll see how it goes. That's actually just real life right on the homestead this morning.
You guys will really identify probably with this idea that this thing that we've all had to do is like YouTube video in one hand while you're trying to do the thing in the other hand out and be like, what did they do exactly? But something that's really interesting about this is this year's intern here on the homestead. Her family uses a lot of homeopathy. And so she was right on the ball, like, okay, I have the remedies for you to help treat this sheep also. So we're doing some backup treatment of some homeopathy. And so we'll give you guys an update next week and let you know what comes of the sheep situation.
Sounds good. So that's the immediate, and yeah, we're filling up the garden, as you know.
Yep.
And animals are all out on pasture. We got some new piggies, some new cooney piggies.
Yay!
And spring is on.
Yeah, we're waiting for a dairy calf and some beef calves.
Yeah, several calves. We're a little late this year. We transitioned with the bull last year, and we got one in late, but we've got one cow that's starting to bag up, dairy cow. So she's down front now into the front pasture rotation, and another one we're watching. We're not sure.
Yep.
And hopefully a few beef calves as well, but they're going to be a little late. They're going to be June-ish, if not late June-ish. Yeah.
There you go. Good.
Yep. So good stuff.
All right.
All righty. Well, before we get into main topic, we need to thank our sponsor. And today's sponsor is American Blossoms Linen. Now, you guys have been following Carolyn and I for a while, and you know that we want to do things frugally. We want good products. Cheap is not always the way to go. We like things that have good value to them. Sometimes you can get good value for not a high cost. Sometimes the value has a cost. But we love good products. And American Blossoms is an American-made company that makes sheets, towels. Help me out here, because blankets, and they're all American-made, and I think everything's American-sourced. So the whole
American-grown
supply chain is American-grown, American-sourced, and it's really, really good quality. And they are, can you call heirloom sheets? Can you call sheets heirloom?
They will be by the time they wear out.
Yeah, they are very, very comfortable, but they're very, very sturdy. And we absolutely love them. It's nice to have a good quality product from a family business that's made in America. We absolutely love that. So,
one thing I really like about them is that they also do crib sheets. And you guys know we've been on a bit of a toxin journey, and some of what we've learned is that the more you keep those toxins out of those young people's bodies, the better for everybody. So starting those kids off with as few toxins as possible is just 100% the way to go in today's world.
Because this is all organic. I hadn't said that, but these are not only American made, it's all organic. And anywhere we can eliminate toxin, we can't get rid of all of it, but anywhere we can take steps to eliminate toxins. And clothing, sheets, clothing material, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's on our bodies and we're breathing it in. So love American Blossom Linens. They have a coupon code for you, 20%. That's 20% good. 20% off your order and free shipping. Just enter Homesteading Family.
All one word.
Into the coupon code and check out their sheets, towels, whatever it is that you're in need of. And you'll be thankful you did.
All right. Awesome.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, American Blossoms Linen, for making this happen today. Right.
Let's see. Question of the day.
Oh, yeah. Right. Question of the day.
Let's do that. I have one for you here from a barn design that makes homesteading easier. And yes, it certainly does. We know that. Do you house and graze your dairy and meat cows together?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So when they're in milk, no. Because we have too many beef cows for the front pasture. We keep the dairy cow. We want the dairy cow close to the house, so she's easy to get to bring in, and it'd be harder management. So from like when they're lactating and we're pulling milk, no, they're either in a pasture closer to the house, or if they've gone to the barn, they're in their own stall in the barn, so they're easy to get in and out and get to the milking stanchion. Now, when they're dry, they're out with the beef cows. So we usually dry them off in midwinter, and then when they're in the barn and they go in with the beef cows, they stay there until they freshen, which is to come into milk again. So they'll stay with the beef cows for that period of time, usually 3 months or so. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So you could, and if you were in a tight space, like you got a dairy cow and you're raising up her baby or a feeder steer or something for beef and you want to keep them together, you absolutely can. It's a management thing is all it is. It's there's not a right or wrong. It's just, it can be easier to manage to have them separated.
It's definitely easier for us to manage.
Yeah. Yep.
In our situation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Question for you. on the 2-minute DIY buttermilk ranch dressing video, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Can you use clabber for this? I'm currently clabbering my first batch. I'm looking for all the ways to use it.
Yes, you can absolutely use your clabber. Cool. Just get it to thick enough. And, you still may want to mix it in with a little bit of that sour cream to get that like tangy sour flavor. Buttermilk or clabber isn't always as tangy as buttermilk and sour cream mixed together, but you can definitely use it. Make sure you're using the proper method of clabbering though, where you create a clabber and then use that as a starter for the next generation. So it has a nice clean flavor. You don't want any of the like dirty feet clabber flavor. That will not be good in your ranch dressing. So make sure you do your first batch. It'll take a nice long time if you have good clean milk to do. And sometimes you get some off scents in that. And so then you take a spoonful of that, put it into your next starter, your next thing for clabber, and then it'll clabber much faster and you'll have a much cleaner taste.
That's good. I don't want dirty feet in my ranch dressing.
No.
Or even something that smells like it.
The first time I made clabber, I did not know that you did it this way. And like did a master batch and then used that as a starter. And I was like, well, it doesn't smell putrid bad, but I don't know that I want to put it in my mouth because it doesn't smell good either.
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right. You must not have guinea pigged me on that one. I am the resident guinea pig, so that you know. Thankfully, we have a few more kids, but if everybody rejects it, it comes to me.
Will you try this? It doesn't smell right. That is not the best marketing for your homemade food, I gotta say.
Well,
I
am still here. I have survived.
And you usually eat it, even when I say that, which is great.
Oh, I love it. I love all the things we do, and I'm happy to support the journey.
Good. All right. Well, we're going to jump right into the main topic because we need to keep moving today. We're going to be talking about the 10 surprising foods that we freeze dry here. But I wanted to introduce this because right now, when this is getting released, it is May. It's still May. This month, Harvest Right is doing its really big sale. You can get up to $900 off of a Harvest right now. And I have an additional coupon code for you. I will have to get it to you in the show notes. So check the show notes, but you can save an additional $100 with the coupon code I have for you.
Wow.
So I just want to make sure that I have the coupon code right before I tell it to you. So check the show notes. This only goes through the end of May, though, through May 31st. So you have to kind of act on it. If you know that you want to freeze dry, this is the moment to grab it before the end of May. So in honor of the great sale and the great freeze dryers that we have sitting right here, because I seriously love my freeze dryers, we thought we'd talk about freeze drying today.
Like it.
Cool.
Love them too. They have freed you up. You're not as stressed at times during harvest season because some of that stuff is just going in the background when there's so much to do and all the food's coming in. So it's very cool. That's
probably the best testimonial you could ever give to a homesteader is like, you're not as stressed in harvest time. Amen. Yep. That's why I like them.
Like good tools.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
Right.
Okay.
Number 1, sourdough starter.
Sourdough starter and anything probiotic. I love this about freeze dryers. They keep the bacteria alive. You do have to know how to make a few special adjustments on your machine, but that means you can freeze dry your sourdough starter and have it still be bacterially active. Is that microbially active?
Sure, it all works. It all works.
So, which means unlike a dry sourdough starter or a dry, like dehydrated yogurt starter or any other starter, you don't actually have to like feed it to bring it back to life. It is ready the instant you rehydrate it, like no joke. This also means you can make probiotic pills out of your own homemade ferments, which I do have a YouTube video out on that. So, or I will shortly. It's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eye out for that. So I really like that.
Cool.
That's a good one.
All right. Number 2, whole meals, things like chili, enchiladas, spaghetti, chicken noodle soup. I got to say, can I talk about this one? Because
go for it.
If you need to sell your husband on a freeze dryer, this might be the thing. Not only is it helpful to mom or the household to have these amazing meals on hand, but it's super helpful for us guys. And I had a situation not too long ago where you were out with the kids at an event. I was late. I got home. There's usually leftovers in the fridge. There were none. It was like you guys went through and I just cleaned
Fridge
up.
clean day.
There was nothing cleaned up at all. And instead of, we don't have Taco Bell, but I know for a lot of us guys, we got an option like, all right, let's go to Sonic or whatever. And you don't want your husband to go out and get the junk food. You can have a prepared meal. And I'm trying to remember what I had that night. I think it was a spaghetti with noodles. Yeah. And I just went downstairs and grabbed a jar and poured hot water over it. And I had Carolyn's home cooked meal for dinner. She wasn't stressed. I wasn't stressed. Really, really cool. So the meals are all, and there's a lot of applications for the meals. That's just a recent one that I've experienced.
Can I make helpful. A joke meme that says something like rehydrating your freeze-dried food is so easy, even your husband can do it. Is that not nice?
Yeah. Well,
just pour over a little water.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the meals are
that's
great.
A really big one. It saves you a lot of stress at times.
It really does.
We also like doing them in little single serve portions for things so that people can grab them and going when they're walking out, which is great.
I've taken them on road trips in jars, backpacked them, so put them in Mylar bags. They fit into a little more lightweight if you're backpacking. They work if a road trip too, but the jars are just a little nicer.
And how do they taste as the guinea pig in the house? Do they taste like a packaged prepared food, or do they taste like normal home cooked food?
No, they taste like your normal home cooked food.
I am surprised at how fresh they taste.
Oh, they taste great. And they taste better. I've eaten a lot of freeze-dried food from just some hunting and backpacking and stuff.
So like commercially prepared freeze-dried food.
Yeah. And this is way, way better.
Plus you actually get a serving that is worth eating, not some tiny little serving.
Absolutely. And it's actually got meat and vegetables in it. Most of the ones you buy are very, very heavy carbs because those are the cheapest to produce with a little bit of stuff. And so we actually get meaty spaghetti or, whatever it is. So yeah, they're awesome.
Okay.
Number three, colostrum.
This one was kind of an eye opener for me when I realized we could take that colostrum that comes in from the dairy goat or cow on those early milkings, and we could freeze dry it because bacteria stays alive in freeze drying as long as you hit that customize button and drop your max temperature down to about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything stays alive, which means you don't have to go buy expensive colostrum powder to have on hand in case you have a farm emergency with a baby animal. Also, if you are into consuming colostrum yourself, which if you've ever gone and looked at colostrum supplements for humans, it is crazy expensive. You can turn your very good homegrown colostrum into colostrum powder that you can just like sprinkle into the kids' smoothies. They don't even know it's there, and it is going to drastically increase their immune system.
Very cool.
Pretty cool.
All right.
You don't even know how much colostrum you've consumed.
Didn't even know I was a guinea pig.
It's the best kind of guinea pig.
I'm sure I'm better for it. For sure. All righty. Moving on to number 4, medicinal herbs. Now, freeze-dried medicinal herbs or culinary herbs.
Yes.
Keep their potency for teas and other things.
Yeah. So the really broad brush statement here is that freeze-dried food retains like 98%. It's really, if you look at the fine studies there and get into, the fine print, we're really talking like 94 to 98% of its nutrition. They figured that dehydrated food is somewhere down in about 60% of its nutrition. And that's because dehydration usually adds heat to it. Okay, there's a process of either wilting down or something like that. When you freeze dry your herbs, you're locking in that much more medicinal power into your medicinal herbs. So this is something that's a really great way to go if you need to, dry your herbs in some way. Just freeze drying them, and it's going to make them way longer shelf stable. So, which sometimes we get big hauls of something, like our friend happens to have too much Monarda or bee balm or something in their garden. We're able to go pick a ton of it, but that doesn't mean we're going to have more next year. And so when you can freeze dry it, it means it's going to store much, much longer. So you can use it for years to come.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love them. I got to keep moving here. Okay. My notes say
it surprised you.
You can make your own food coloring.
Food coloring. This is one we've been playing with a little bit in the house. This is like freeze drying to make your own beet powder to use as healthy food coloring. You can also use it for things like if you grow butterfly pea bushes for the coloring aspect, you can freeze dry your butterfly peas, turn them into a powder that you can use to color frostings, whatever it is that you want to color in your house food wise. You can do that without any artificial dyes. I love that. So cool. Oh my gosh, that makes me really excited. That's great. Really cool. That's about as far as I've experimented with so far. So if you guys have any other thoughts of great plants to freeze dry to powder to make a good dye, let me know in the comments. I'd love that. Or email us.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot out there.
There are a lot. I just haven't tried them yet.
That's so cool.
So neat.
All right. Next, number 6 is raw liver for dog treats. Maybe your family doesn't enjoy the liver so much. We eat a little bit of it, but we actually end up with a lot of liver from beef cow, sheep, many pigs, venison,
everything.
Deer. Yeah. So they make great dog treats. The dogs absolutely love them. Our dogs often won't eat the raw liver either for whatever reason. That's always surprises me when it's fresh, but freeze dry it and they're crawling all over you for it. And so, of course, you could do that for other things, for dog treats, anything, but for liver in our house, that's like one of these things we have a lot of that we just have a hard time consuming all of it. But the dogs don't. And
when great treat. Was younger, I went through dog obedience training, like how to do dog obedience training, and with a dog. And liver treats were the thing they always suggested because the dogs just go crazy for them, but you can get them really small, but they're good for the animal. They're not, like junk food essentially for your animal. And so we would buy these things when I was young, and they are so expensive. If you go and look at it right now, you can go buy these for your dogs, and it is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But what I found is we can turn everybody else's liver that they don't want. Like often we have friends who have, ranch businesses and sell beef cows. And I'm like, hey, if you have extra liver, let me know that, your customers don't want. We can get that and we can turn it into this dog treats. What I've learned, the trick is, though, to save a ton of time, don't even mess with chopping it. Stick it all into the food processor, blend it until it is pretty smooth, and just pour it on the freeze dryer trays. And it actually just breaks off by hand into really easy. It's so time saving to not have to chop it.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's a good one.
This is a fun one. A lot of people, when they get a freeze dryer, freeze dry candy, that always just was like, why? Okay. There's books on freeze drying candy. It's nuts. But this might be equally nuts because, Carolyn and I love our coffee, specifically lattes. And of course, what do you think we tried? Almost like one of the first things we did in a freeze dryer? Lattes. We freeze dried lattes. And I'll tell you, it worked really, really good. And it's hard to get. We like clean food. I travel off and on quite a bit, and getting a good coffee with good milk is very, very hard. And all of a sudden, you've got freeze dried latte powder. And it's not fresh, but it can be very, very close.
It's usually better than your bad coffee shop option.
Especially if you got a little frother that you can get froth it up.
The real cool trick is if you put it into a jar and you rehydrate it in something you can cap down, you can shake it a little bit and get a little nice foam on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very, very cool. All right.
Number 8.
Yeah. Yogurt bites.
Yogurt bites. You guys, you can turn your yogurt into little snackable candies that even your babies can melt in their mouth.
Yeah. Probiotic goodies.
Probiotic goodies with really, really good foods, not a lot of sugar. Like, you can craft this to what you want for your family, and you just dollop it out on your freeze dryer trays. If you want to be really fast, you can actually pipe it, from a piping bag right onto your trays in little dollops. Oh, so good. It is such a good treat.
I've got
So
such
healthy.
a guy brain. I was like trying to think about bagpipes, and I hear piping it. I get it. The little bag, little
piping.
I don't do that.
Gosh.
I've done that once, and I think I blew the thing up. So,
well, that was probably predictable. Okay. Moving on.
All right, egg scrambles. You can freeze dry scrambled eggs.
This is great for those fast days, fast breakfasts. This is really fun because you can egg scrambles, especially this time of year when you have a lot of excess eggs. If you have chickens, you probably have a lot of extra eggs, or maybe if your neighbors have chickens, you have excess eggs. But you can take those eggs right now, and you have two options with your freeze dryer. You can either just get everything ready raw, like you would just before you pour it into the pan. And instead of pouring it into the pan, you pour it into your freeze dryer tray and freeze dry it raw, which means you're going to end up with a raw egg with all, like, put all the veggies in there, whatever you want in there, some cheese, all of it, and freeze dry it like that. But it does mean when you rehydrate it, it will still be raw and you'll have to cook it. Or if you want something that's like easy enough for your preteen to have breakfast all by themselves, then you can scramble it, actually do the cooking, and then freeze dry it that way. And then it just becomes add a little water and eat it. So it's a great way. You can do all different flavors and do them in little individual serving size. So anybody who wants breakfast, when you don't want to make it, good to go.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Number 10 is the smoothie mix powder. You can blend fruits and yogurt and freeze dry them into smoothie powders.
Which is really nice for the times of year where you don't have any more bananas sitting on your shelf because you didn't make it to the grocery store. You can freeze dry all the individual fruits, or you can just go ahead and make the smoothie and dump it on the tray, and you end up with a powder that you just rehydrate with a little water. So, and that means you can put all the goodies in there. You can put your protein powder in, you can put your greens powder in, you can put all these different things in there and make this really great, healthy smoothie. Put it on your shelf where your kids can grab it and be like, I want a smoothie, but you know that it's all the good stuff and they didn't dump a bunch of sugar in there when you weren't looking.
Which is expensive. You can get a lot of these things in the store now, but they're very, very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But when you want to talk about saving money, and you can raise your own produce, or you can go buy it. We can't grow bananas, but we can go buy good quality bananas and make something like this way cheaper than you could make some prepackaged smoothie.
Right.
And it's very, very good for you. So huge, huge benefit. Well, hey, that was a 10 tips.
That was the
10 things you can freeze dry.
Right.
But we're about out of time, and you had one, I don't know if it was one of them or something else, but you had one tip for something you will never, ever freeze dry again.
So that language might be a little strong, because the reason I'll never freeze dry it again is because it didn't even make it into storage. The kids and I ate it all straight off the freeze dryer trays because it was so incredibly good. And that's ice cream. Freeze-dried ice cream. But we're not talking just any ice cream. We were talking really good quality Jenny's ice. Jenny's ice cream is like our family favorite, unless we're making it ourselves. Yeah, which is, even better than that. But sometimes you just go grab some ice cream. We did Jenny's ice cream, and oh my goodness, the salted caramel ice cream that came off of those trays, all freeze-dried. You're
gonna have to make it again, because
don't do that again.
I'm just realizing I can now take ice cream backpacking.
Oh yeah.
So I think the never's out the window.
Yeah, and to the park, and you can hide it in the bedroom for midnight snack. Very portable ice cream.
Good stuff.
Anyways, you guys, if you're interested in freeze drying, if you know that you want a freeze dryer, consider grabbing one in the next couple days. We love Harvest Right. I have 3 freeze dryers, and they're all Harvest Rights. They've been a great, great experience for us.
And they work in this household. You'd think, what would you do with 3? Well, harvest season, they run 24/7 for months. And
so if you're thinking about getting one, this is your moment to do it and save a whole lot of money. And if you want to learn more about freeze drying, we'll put a link down there too.
Can I give a myth about freeze drying?
Yeah, do it.
Is that they're very expensive to run.
Yeah.
There was a time when they probably were,
Yeah.
but they've got the
Definitely.
technology down. And yes, there's a cost to them. It is minimal. You cover some of it in your book, but it's minimal. That's a myth that should be a barrier, is my point.
Absolutely.
It's not. As the guy that watches the bills and like, hey, we're turning the lights off, we're spending too much electricity. The freeze dryers, it's there, you notice it, but it's not substantial.
And a real quick tip on that: the larger the freeze dryer, the more food you put in it, the more energy savings you get on it. The more energy efficient it is.
Batching it up.
So yeah, and if you guys are interested in learning any more about freeze drying, we'll drop a link to my freeze drying class below, where I walk you through all the steps of how to actually freeze dry all these things.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
All right. Great hanging out with y'all today. Great hanging out with you today.
Always fun.
And we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.